how to build strong relationships, whether that's friendship or romantic relationships. So I think I have like a kind of like a list of things to build relationships romantically and build relationships in a friendship way. And I think they can go both ways. Some are strictly for romantic and some are strictly for friendship. So I'll just tell you which one's which, if they're both, if not, so on and so forth. So I say this one's for kind of both, and that's just genuinely just building trust. So you might be asking me, like, well, how do you build trust with people? Honestly, it just comes down to experience with the person. So whether that's friends or a significant other, it doesn't matter. Any type of relationship, to build trust, it literally just comes with time. You are not going to trust somebody right out the gate, and rightfully you shouldn't, because there's a lot of people out there that like to screw you over, and that's just the truth. And it's hard to kind of fathom, but I think as I go on through these lists of things, you'll understand how to kind of build that trust off of the next few things, right? But honestly, I think building trust genuinely just comes from experience with the person. Does their actions match their words? Does their words match their actions? So on and so forth. I think that will build trust, because if somebody says they'll do something and they do it, well, how can you not trust them? Because they're telling you the truth. They're being honest. Which just leads me to my second thing, honesty. Honesty is I think a big issue nowadays, because everybody's hiding everything. So everything is a secret. And like, what do I mean by that? I mean, people hide who they really are all the time. And like, oh yeah, and this is also for both honesty in friendship and honesty in a romantic relationship. It goes both ways, right? It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. Honesty is a key factor. If you are talking to your friend one day and then say he turns around and lies about you to other people, well, are you going to still want to be around that person or not? No. If you are trying to start out, say you go on a date with this girl or this guy, and she's lying about who she is as a person, you find out, are you going to still want to date him or not? The answer will probably be no. If she sits there and tells you that this is her job and this is what she wants to do in life, and she wants to travel and all this and that, but then the more time goes on, her actions aren't really matching her words, she's being dishonest, well then, there's your answer. And rightfully, you shouldn't want to be with that person anyways, nor be friends with them. So that's kind of like my second step. And then third step, this also kind of goes for both. This, I would say, leans way more with the romantic side, because you'll understand. So being vulnerable. Now, I think this is way more important for romantic relationships, because if you don't have that ability to be open with somebody, really express your feelings, because whether you're a man or a woman, expressing your feelings is extremely important in a romantic relationship. It's just because if you have all these worries and these fears, say you have these insecurities and these doubts, and you're going at it with that mindset of that they should just know about all of that, it's just not how it is. And you have to come off somewhat direct at some point and be vulnerable to the person. That way you can really start building trust, because vulnerability will build up your trust. Nobody's just going to tell you how they actually feel about you just randomly. You're like it takes a lot of honesty for that to happen. And second off, that takes a lot of trust in you. Like, if I'm being vulnerable to you, I have to trust you at least somewhat to be able to get that off my chest. Because you could take whatever I say and use it against me in the future. You could take whatever I say and make me look like an idiot to other people, right? But then the way you act and say you be vulnerable to me, this builds our bond, right? This builds our trust with each other, our honesty and vulnerability. Now, why do I say this is more important in romantic relationships? I think this is more important because, like with friends, yes, it's good to be vulnerable. I do agree. But I just think it's way more important in a romantic relationship, because, let's be honest, in a romantic relationship, if you're dating to marry, and that's the person that you're trying to, be with for the rest of your life, or you're trying to find the one or whatever, and you're planning on whoever you get with is the one that you really want to marry, you're you spend a lot of time with this person, you see a future, whatever. That means you're going to be living in the same house as them. That means you're possibly going to have kids with them. That means you're probably going to share accounts with them. All these things. And like with friends, like, yes, it happens sometimes, but it's unusual. So the point is, this is like your person. This is like your missing rib, right? So the reason why vulnerability is really important is just because, like, if you can't get things off of your chest, the person that you see all the time, every day, like, you're living in a lie, and that's a bad part. Now, am I saying that vulnerability is not important in friendships? No, it is very important. I'm just saying I think romantic relationships is more important. So let me get into like the friend side of things. If you are not vulnerable with your friend, right? And I don't mean like you have to express like your feelings for the person, like with like romantic relationships, like you're like, man, you really mean a lot to me. Like, you can do that. But I'm saying like with a romantic relationship, you'll say stuff like to a girl, you'll be like, man, you've really helped me through a lot. I see a future with you. Like, this isn't stuff you're gonna say with your friends. You're not gonna be like, man, I see a future with you. I want to marry you. No, that's not how it is. Now, let me get back on track. So with friends, being vulnerable, being honest about who you are, right? Not hiding behind a mask for your entire friendship. If you don't like something, then be honest about it. Tell them you don't like it. Be a little bit vulnerable. Be like, man, I do not enjoy that kind of stuff. It's just not my thing. And if you're worried about like your friendship ending over this, then these aren't the people you want to be around. Or look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, it's just probably me. So you have to decide that for yourself. So in all honesty, if you really think they're gonna like make fun of you for saying how you really feel about whatever thing that you guys are discussing, I say just do it, and then you'll know exactly if they're the people you want to be around or not. Because based on their reaction to what you're saying, that's going to tell you a lot about them. But that's also important. Number 4, which kind of is like just kind of like a part 2 of the vulnerability one, right? I think it's important for both. Not hiding behind a mask. I know I kind of said that with a vulnerability one, but like being yourself is so like, it's kind of sad that people are so scared to be who they want to be. Like, if you have a dream, then chase your dreams. Like, everybody has different dreams. Some people, their dream is simply just to start a family. And that's hard, right? Some people's dream is to get rich, start a business, do something, right? That's difficult as well. Some people's dream is just to have real people around, be positive. Some people's dream is to spread, religion, spread the gospel, all that. Everybody's dream is different, but if you can't be yourself around the people you're seeing every single day, whether that's your friends, your family, your significant other, whoever people you're around that you trust, and you can't even be yourself, do you really trust them? Like, are you really even giving them a chance to be in your life and have access to it? Because, like, you can't live a whole life full of safety. And what I mean by that is, like, you have to take a risk at some point with somebody if you want to have a real friendship or relationship with this person. At some point, you have to be open and honest and be like, yo, this is who I am. If you like it, good, then we'll get along well. If you don't, then we can part ways. But you cannot just settle for people in worries that they're just gonna like make fun of you or leave you for whatever reason because you're being yourself. That is not how you want to live your whole life. Living your whole life behind a mask is probably one of the most terrible things you can do to yourself, because you're gonna regret everything, because you're gonna be like, man, I never thought I could speak what I really wanted. I never really thought I could say what was on my mind. I really never thought I could say how I felt about this thing. I never could tell them I had fun with this and not this. I never could tell them I didn't like this movie, or I didn't like this party we went to, or I don't like how we do these things, or I think that, I'm the one putting in all the effort in whatever this is. You can't hide behind a mask your whole life. It's just going to drain you, because it's going to be a constant reminder that you're faking who you are. And I think that's a terrible way to live and a terrible way to build relationships. So in all honesty, strong relationships, it's built on, you know, honesty, vulnerability, being yourself. What was it for? The trust. These are all important. Now, I think I got like two more. And I know I didn't really say much for just the friend side of things. It was kind of, I had one thing that leaned kind of towards romantic, but I think friendships, it's kind of the same stuff, trust, honesty, all that. And here's a fifth one I'm about to get into: loyalty. Loyalty, this would lean towards romantic, but it's also important in friendship, but in a different way. So like, I'll just do the friendship one first. So like for friendship loyalty, it's like you'll never turn your back on them. You're never gonna backstab them. They never backstab you. You guys are loyal to each other. You trust each other. You know you wouldn't say this. You know you wouldn't say that. You believe you wouldn't say this. You believe you wouldn't say that. You believe you do this. You believe you wouldn't do that. Right? That whole thing. Loyalty. Like you would do anything for these people. These build strong relationships. It's just more important with like a romantic relationship because like with friends, there's no such thing as like getting cheated on with friends, right? Like if they hang out with other friends, who cares? Romantic relationships, if you have a girlfriend and she hangs out with other guys, that's when it starts sparking, issues. In a friendship, whether Timmy over there that you hang out with every day hangs out with John or Sarah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother you. There's no such thing as cheating. Whereas in romantic relationships, there is. So loyalty is really important in that too. Being, sticking by each other's sides, staying together when things get hard, not running away, facing the problem, being there for each other when times get hard, being there for each other when times are easy, being there for each other during the good and the bad, being loyal. No matter what happens, you're there together, She's your rock, he's your rock. When you're down, she's up helping you. When she's down, you're up helping her. When you're both up, you're both up. When you're both down, you help each other go through the problem. That's the beauty of loyalty, especially in romantic relationships. Now, the sixth one, I think this is mainly towards, I would say romantic relationships. I don't think this has anything to do with friendships, but this is what I'm saying. Do not build your romantic relationship on lust. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, building your romantic relationship on sexual desires is probably one of the worst things you can do. Think about it like this way. If you're a builder, right? You're building a house. Would you build your house on a one pillar foundation? Like let's say this is the foundation. This is the house on top of it. Would you do that or not? And let's say it has splinters in it, like the wood is split, it's about to fall apart, it's about to cut in half. It's about to just completely break. Like one little movement after the house is built, one little push on that house, and that pillar is gone. Would you build your house on that? No. So it's the same thing with like lust being the base, the foundation of your romantic relationship, right? Because if you're getting in it at the fact like you're like, man, I just really want to just, have sex with her or whatever, and that's like your reasoning, or man, I really just want to have sex with him, and man, his abs look good, or man, her ass is fat, or whatever. These are just not good ways to build that romantic relationship. Now, I'm not gonna lie, everybody has lustful thoughts. It's about whether or not you act on them. When it comes to your head, when you're getting those thoughts, like, man, I really like the way her body, whatever. Just remind yourself to get out of that mindset and just start focusing like, you know what? That's great and all. She takes care of herself. Amazing. But let me actually get to know this girl. Because sometimes this can hurt you a lot because when you're so focused on just the outside things and people, you completely ignore what's on the inside, and that's what screws people over. So understand that, yes, it's great. She has a good body. He has a good body. Whatever. Great. But make sure you're focused on the main thing. Obviously, looks attract. That's what starts conversations. That's just being blunt and honest about the situation. That's what starts conversations with people. Looks is like the way to get in a conversation. The personality is what keeps you in it. So I say never build your relationship on lust. Even if you have lustful thoughts, do not act on it. Don't send her stuff. Don't ask her to send you stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't ask her to send. Don't send her anything. At least build somewhat of a relationship, or whether or not it's you're exactly specifically dating each other, at least build some kind of like a little amount of trust before you start getting into all of that. Even just a week of just communicating about each other and how you guys act and how you are as people or whatever. At least for a week do that. And then maybe think about the other stuff. Remember, that kind of thing is like 5% of what you should be thinking about. It's like 5% of what is good about these relationships. The other 95 is like the idea of having that your best friend at your side all the time. Somebody to talk to, somebody to have fun with, somebody to be with when you're, lonely, or somebody to be with during your tough times. And I know it kind of sounds like I'm explaining like a Disney movie, but this is the truth though. This is like basic. And it's so sad because you don't even see that anymore. It's like gone. People don't trust each other. People don't treat each other well anymore. Everybody treats each other like shit. And it's so sad because like I feel really bad for the people who are like super genuine, because these are the people that get walked all over in today's world or whatever you want to call it. These are the people that get walked over all the time, and they have just genuine like kindness for people. But like, besides the point, building your relationship on a foundation of just straight up lust and just not caring about anything else but just getting in bed with her or him is a terrible way to go about romantic relationships. And like, I get it, people are different, people aren't always there for marriage, people aren't always there for this, but I'm telling you, that is not, you hooking up all the time is not going to fill up that emptiness inside of your heart or your soul, or I don't care if you're religious or not. It's just simply not going to fill up that emptiness. You think it is, but then the next thing you know, you get with this girl, oh man, it was great, let's go find another one. And you're just wasting your time finding just random people to have just meaningless sex with. Which is something, by the way, that should be cherished and not just put out to the world to see. It's so disgusting. And even if you are private about it, you hooking up with multiple women or multiple men is not a flex, I promise you. Like, when you look at people's faces when you talk to them about how you hook up with people. Like, look at their eyes. Like, truly look at how they're acting to you. Sure, they might sit there and dab you up and be like, man, good for you. But do they really give a shit about you hooking up with Sophia or hooking up with Trevor or whatever? Like, do these people really give a shit about you hooking up with them? It doesn't make you cool. You're not cool for that. You're not standing out. You're not better than anybody because you hooked up with some random girl that nobody knows. And even if people do know her, who cares? Like, you're just showing off your like disgust. Like, in reality, like, I'm telling you, finding somebody that's really worth your time, finding somebody that you, like I said, be your best friend, and you share that kind of stuff with them, is way more beautiful and way more valuable than anything else. No hooking up is ever going to amount to that. I promise. I'm telling you, find like that best friend. Sure, you guys may do it or whatever. That is way more cherishable and way more valuable than hooking up with just random girls and random guys all the time. And I know it's hard, it's difficult, but that's why you gotta understand this too. Like, if you believe in the law of attraction, like, you are what you attract. If you're getting around and sleeping around with multiple people, and all of a sudden you expect this amazing guy to come by who's loyal and he hasn't been with anybody, you're delusional. And if you're the opposite, like, let's say you're a guy hooking up with multiple girls, and you're like, well, I can do it because I'm a guy. No, you can't. I don't care what society says. And then you complain about, oh man, all girls are this, they just sleep around. As you're sitting there doing the same thing. Like, you are not any better than anybody else. So understand that building a relationship on straight up just lust and not caring about anything else is just, you're going down a slippery slope. Like, especially if you really want to do something with this girl, like, you're like, man, she's really great, but I just really want to do this with her. That's it. Like, you're ruining something that could be amazing based off lust. And it's just sad. And I'm telling you, don't fault yourself if you have thoughts like this. Like, I'm not sitting here being like bashing you, be like, man, you're a piece of shit. You just thought of her lustfully. You mean you just looked at her ass. Like, I'm not telling you that you're a piece of shit because of that. The truth is, man or woman, everybody has lustful thoughts at some point, right? Especially when they see a good-looking person in public. Like, that's the honesty of it. But it's about whether or not you act on those thoughts. And when you do have those thoughts, like I said, remind yourself that you need to learn about this person first. Go talk to her. Go talk to him. If you want to start a conversation, just go talk to him. It's hard, I get it. Approach anxiety, all that. But if something's calling out to you that, man, I really just need to talk to this person, just go do it. If it goes bad, well, at least you got your answer that that's not somebody you want to spend your time with. But what happens if it goes good, right? And if you're not ready for it, that's simple too. Just understand that you can't get mad at yourself for not going up to the person. But there's somebody out there for everybody, right? It's just about whether or not you're going to let all the bad stuff get in the way of it, including your thoughts. So don't let lust be the reason why you get with somebody. Because I'm telling you, you're missing out on just great opportunities with great people due to just simply your thoughts. I was in the same boat, right? I was in the same boat. I would talk to my friends like, man, this girl looks so good, or I really want to get with her. And I always told myself, like, this isn't really who I am, like, as a person. This isn't. And I know I'm only saying these things because I'm around these people. I knew it was. Like, I never told them. But the truth is, that is exactly why I talked about that kind of stuff. Inside, I knew, I was like, I am not the type to just get with a girl and that's it. And I never have. So I would say the stuff, to this group of friends that I used to be with. But I knew that deep down inside, when I really asked myself, is this really who I am? Or am I just simply, like, I'm being myself, but am I acting on a different personality? And the truth was, yes, I was. In that specific department, when it comes to girls and all that, yes. But I never did that. And I still haven't. I don't plan to, ever. That's why I said, actions match the words. My words did not match my actions. My words, they call out pimp and all that and saying, oh yeah, I really like this girl for this. Not personality, who cares about that, right? But my actions did not match up with that. Because if that was true, I'd be going up to every girl in public. Wouldn't be scared, why would I care? The only thing I want is one thing, right? But the truth is, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a deep relationship with somebody. Somebody, like I said, my best friend. Somebody I can sit down and just talk to, resonate with, argue with, just not argue, but disagree. Disagree in a mature manner. Agree in a mature manner. Be nice to, not have to put them down. I don't want them putting me down. Because that's another thing I used to do. I used to put people down inside my own head, to their face, behind their back. And did I do it often? No. But I always caught myself doing it. And that's another thing I asked myself. I was like, is this because of the people I'm around, or is this because this is how I am? And when I really came down to it, I was like, this isn't who I am. I'm not the type to do this. So understanding that was a big stepping stone for me. And I'm proud that I got out of that spot. But I'm just here to say that I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We all make mistakes. We shouldn't fault each other for simply making one little mistake in our life. It happens. You're going to look at a girl, you're going to look at a guy with lustful thoughts. Just don't act on it. You have that control. So, if you want to really get to know the person, great. But if you're simply there just to hook up, I'm telling you, ask yourself if that's really what you want in your life. Because I'm telling you, as time goes on, and you keep doing that and sharing that gift of, like, intimate connection with somebody over and over and over and over and over again, whether you believe in religion or not, it takes a toll on you. Like, you start, like, not really appreciating it as much. And you're like, man, this felt like yesterday. Well, maybe because it was. That wasn't meant to be just handed out to everybody. It never was meant to be. So you just go down the right path. That's all I'm saying. Like, your thoughts are going to get in the way of things. Just don't act on those lustful thoughts. Build your relationship on a foundation of, honestly, friendship. Not necessarily friend zone, but friendship. What would you do to a friend, right? What would you do? You'd be kind. you'd be honest about who you are, be vulnerable, you know, build it on friendship, not lust. Build it on love, build it on friendship. And I know you don't necessarily know if you love somebody when you first talk to them. I get that. But what I'm saying is build it out of love. What would you do for somebody that you love, right? How would you treat them? You would treat them with genuine kindness. And just because you love them, you can still disagree with them. Be yourself around them. You know, all that. And obviously, when you first meet somebody, you have to have a level of professionalism around them, right? Because you're first meeting them. You don't know how they act. You're learning them, they're learning you. So you're obviously gonna have an act of professionalism as you're speaking to them. But that's okay. But that's not hiding behind a mask. Still be yourself. Like, for example, if you really like to watch anime, and that might be a geeky or nerdy thing. I mean, I don't watch it, but I know a lot of people look at it as like a geeky or nerdy thing, and that's gonna scare away the women, or that's gonna scare away the guys, or whatever. A simple way to get that across is just ask them a question. You're getting to know them, right? Ask them, like, what kind of movies or TV shows are you into? Like, do you watch TV? Do you not? And they'll probably say yes, no, okay. What do you like to watch? What do you like to do? They'll say, oh man, I really like horror movies. I really like horror genre. I really like slashers, stuff like that. And they'll ask you, what do you like to watch? And you're like, sounds kind of nerdy, but I like to watch anime. You know, simple as that. And if they look at you like you're a piece of shit, who cares, right? Who cares? Because it's better to be yourself in the very beginning than to lie about yourself for 3 months on end, and then they find out who you really are, and then they lose all attraction. If they can build attraction from the very beginning on who you really are, you never have to fake who you are. You're winning. Whether you lose her in the first date or not, you are winning. And most of the time you will win, even by being yourself, because that's what people want. They don't want to be lied to their whole life. That's why when like people, like dudes especially, complain about this, and they're like, man, I can't be myself. Oh, if I be myself, it's gonna show that I'm a wimp, or I'm a wuss, or whatever. Like, dude, like, put your ego aside for once in your life. Be yourself for just one day. Open, like, it sounds cliche, it sounds corny, but like, open up your heart to this person. If this is somebody that you want to pursue, whether you know them or not, if you want to pursue them in some fashion or way, you want to at least get to know who they are. Make sure that you're doing the same thing for them. If they're sharing who they are as a person, share who you are as a person. And even if they don't, still show who you are as a person, because then you set the example for, okay, this is what you should be doing as well to me. Don't lie to me. Tell me who you really are. You know, that's the whole point. Don't build relationships on lust. Build it on friendship, not friend zone. I'm not saying put yourself in the friend zone. No, be who you are. That's simple. Build it on that. And then the trust, the honesty will all come along the way. I know I've been talking for like almost half an hour, but how to build strong relationships, friendships, all that. I talk more about romantic relationships, but, you know, what can you do? But other than that, though, I hope you learn something from this. I hope you start being yourself more, start to being more positive. This is the reason why I make these videos, just simply to change your mindset about things. You know, just open up yourself, right? Open up your life. Don't go around with such a closed mindset. That's why I make these videos. I want to change people for the better. I don't want to change them because I don't want them to not be who they are. And I want to change them so they can be who they are. That's the whole point. So I hope that these videos make an impact on your life. And I hope that one day I can grow an audience to the point where it's affecting thousands, maybe even millions. Whereas right now, I'm not in that space. And I know it's going to take a lot of time. But like, seriously, if you really like my videos, please follow. It means a lot, and it just kind of keeps me motivated to keep doing this, because I know there's people out there listening. So in all honesty, I hope this helps you. I hope that one day you can have those successful friendships and relationships, and you can start living life to the fullest, you know, have a higher quality of life. But other than that, live your life, and life isn't too short to make a change.